und Easy Health Icon.
Christian, God works in mysterious ways. I went all the way to Baragwanath Hospital only to find that I'll start a thing. When I now came back and I was of the physiology, the one heart is pumping more than the other for two.
Those days were also not so great.
Yeah,
to test, to investigate and test the functionality.
What you can do. So they said to me, what can you do? I said, look, all I can do is, it's got to do with when there's metabolism, unless you are disabled.
Yeah.
So if God gives you health, He means you should help the needy, the people who need your health, for instance.
So at age 68, you still fit enough to stand and do those 14-hour ops?
Well, not quite. I mean, that would be insincere.
Yeah.
But I'm fit enough to train the people who are fit enough to do those ops, to train them the right way, production of medical students, production of specialists. Yes, I mean, I've been at Tembisa Hospital.
Yes.
It's a good thing, I must say, for somebody who's retired, for people to say, please come, we need A, B, C. Because that's what we love.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the things you did when you were at Steve Biko Academic Hospital in Pretoria.
Yes.
You decentralized neurosurgery, capacity from where things used to be done in that center.
Yes.
Tertiary center. You actually took and built capacity Tembisa Hospital and also at Kalafong. Little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, when I was head of neurosurgery at Steve Biko Academic Hospital, I was told of the satellite hospitals that feed into us, meaning that we should do the tertiary level work from those people. So I was sitting, working on complex operations from those feeding hospitals. Not just, in fact, not even just complex operations, even simple life-saving ones, they would all have to come there. So I realized this is a constriction. I tried to increase the capacity. Of course, the CEO was very helpful. Whenever I wanted more staff, he would give me, he never refused me. The issue was when it came to facilities.
The beds.
When it came to the beds of the hospital, when it came to the theater time, when it came to the beds of the ICU. Now, I would sit there with people wanting to come in, but they can't come in, and they die there. And when they die there, they die in my name. So I tried for years to change it until I called a meeting with my staff and said, if the mountain won't go to Mahomet, Mahomet must go to the mountain. We must go and take neurosurgery there. So we divided the staff and we started doing life-saving procedures, extradural hematomas, trauma, Kalafong Hospital, Tembisa Hospital. That's why when Tembisa Hospital actually, we wanted to do even Mamelodi because it not only because it refers to us, but also because it's closest to me. I mean, if you can hit me on my head, I'm going to end up at that hospital. But we couldn't get in there because they were ready for us.
As you are leaving for Limpopo
Yes.
to do something similar, you are leaving capacitated Kalafong and Tembisa Hospital that you are hoping that will continue as examples of decentralization of tertiary type of interventions.
Very right. And I'm also hoping that my successor will think the same way and sustain them, because it now depends on him. He calls the shots now. I'm really hoping that he sees good in that.
Prof, like everybody who's walked this earth, you want to be remembered for something when God decides to recall you, whenever that will be. what would you want to be remembered for in the medical profession first?
In the medical profession, well, already people know me as the first local African neurosurgeon. But what they don't know is I actually stayed so that I can produce a lot more, which I did. I actually stayed so that I can make other centers realize that they have no excuse not to produce Africans, which I did. And I think that's what...
public service.
Public service. Public service, I will die in public service.
So you've produced, you've multiplied yourself,
Yeah.
and you've made the public service much more capable to deliver in this specialized area of medicine.
And of course did the outreach.
Yes.
The neurosurgical outreach to the other hospitals.
Yes. Society, how should it remember you?
Society.
South African society.
You know, like my grandfather.
Yeah.
When my grandfather was a teacher, a principal, he says, before I die, I must thank God. Like my grandfather, when I neared retirement, I decided I must also thank God. And as I'm sitting here, you are speaking to a lay preacher in the Lutheran church.
Yes.
Yes, so...
it's not because of fear that you're getting closer to the, to being recalled. Now you think that you must sort yourself out.
No, on the contrary. You do realize that we grew up reading the Bible from childhood all the way up.
Yeah.
Now, when I go to church and somebody preaches there and you realize they have not prepared, and people have left whatever they wanted to do to come and attend and be inspired. That's when I decided, man, I must be a preacher because this is no good. It is the bad preachers that made me decide to become a preacher. And I tried to do my best, and I think it is not for me to say, but my congregants will tell you whether I'm doing a good job or not.
You see, Prof, this thing of lay preachers can be a problem at times. You know, about 3 months ago, we had a very prominent lay preacher who prayed in public.
Yes.
And quoted from the Revelations about the 666s and other things.
Yes.
And it did a lot of damage for, when it comes to issues of vaccine hesitancy. Because people now respect that lay preacher. And when he talks about 666 and corrupt DNAs and all of that, so the interpretation of the scriptures, sometimes it needs depth.
Absolutely.
To be able to put things in a particular perspective.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm worried. I'm not saying you've done anything as a lay preacher, but I'm just saying some lay preachers who are prominent because of their stage or status in society. People just take what they say and not critically analyze and see whether this is actually good. So it's good that you're a lay preacher, but then I hope you won't do like the other, prominent.
Certainly not. And in fact, let me tell you that it is my belief that whatever I may have achieved, it is because of God. Let me tell you that even when I go to the most difficult operations, I would pray before I do that. Let me tell you that even in the middle of danger, where things go wrong and you realize I'm losing a life here, a split moment of prayer, next thing you think you have overcome that. So I've lived what I preach. That's why I told you that even the way I grew up, having to go from Pretoria to Baragwanath
and back,
this was all the work of God. Pick up a thing which when I come back, I will actually have been prepared for it. And as we speak, there was even yet another separation of
Yes.
Siamese twins after the Banda twins.
Yes, yes.
Now, all I say is that is the work of God. And by the way, when Ben Carson, over in America there, I know you can't say much about him today because he's a Republican.
He wanted to become a president of America, but he failed in the primaries.
Yeah, he did. By the way, even at that time, when he was still famous, I don't think he still is really, judging from the youth. He was very famous amongst the youth. But now the youth that I meet today are not in the same line. But even Ben Carson, he inspired me so much. When I said, here I'm sitting with Professor Lipschitz in South Africa. And he wants Ben Carson to do it first so he can do it later. When I saw the picture of Ben Carson, I couldn't believe it. It was like Dubazana, you know?
This guy could have come out of Alexandra.
I said a prayer. I said a prayer. God, please help make me meet this man.
Yeah.
And of course, the rest is history. Not only did I meet him, we worked together. I'm Christian through and through. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm not a sinner. But of course, Jesus Christ came for sinners, not for perfect people.
Yes. All right. So looking at now your family, you met your wife in hospital as a radiologist.
Radiographer.
Sorry, as a radiographer.
Right,
Sorry.
right.
Yes. So you walking there in the corridors of the hospitals. Kandi, your eye is actually also wandering and checking, who, and then you met your wife, your soulmate.
Yeah, well, my friend, it shouldn't surprise you that medicine is such a long course. When you finish medicine, you are ready to marry. And in fact, for many years, I think it's still true that most doctors are married to nurses. People didn't understand this. It's because when the hormones start working, it's not remote, it's close by. The people you work with. It's the people you work with. So I was working with this radiographer over a patient. I had to go and operate, but I had to do an investigation before operation. And as I was ready for them to be ready, I was obviously looking around, not just on the patient because he was stable. Then I found an apple of my eye at Garangua Hospital with a radiographer. Yeah, just like many of my colleagues have married nursing sisters. You know, we work together. We part of the same family, all healthcare workers. Doctors, nurses, all healthcare workers. And I'm happy that at least, in Britain, it started in Britain that when COVID came, they say, give these people the vaccines first. And so we in South Africa, we followed, and I've received mine 2 days ago.
And you've got 3 children?
Yes.
All girls?
All girls, yes.
2 of them engineers, and one of them an accountant.
You know an Afrikaans expression? A stood bill, till net fair scholars. Yeah, I know you won't understand that. You know, when you have cattle, you want studs that bring only a female cow so you can have more. So, well, you are saying to me, I have 3 girls. They will say I'm a stud bear, you know.
How would you want this family of yours now to remember you?
Well,
and now I'm talking here now as a father, as a husband, as a grandfather, because you've got 3 grandchildren or more, I don't know now. How would you want the family to remember you?
Firstly, let me say the family has complimented me. Yeah, because in everything I did, they supported me. My wife supported me. I wanted to be an engineer, but 2 of those 3 girls are engineers now. Electrical engineer. So they've really completed me. And I think I want them to remember me as a loving husband, as a loving dad, as a dad who did the best for them that the circumstances have allowed. I mean, they haven't got the best of everything. They were not driving flashy cars when they were at university, but they knew that what our father could afford, we would get. And that's all. That's what a parent should be.
Now, in your late 60s, you are trekking up to Limpopo.
Right.
For the last hooray before you put down your stethoscopes and all of those things. What do you want to achieve there?
Well, let's not call it an achievement. Let me say something that will elucidate the point. You see, the longevity is getting bigger. People are living longer simply because of the improvements in medicine. So in fact, that's why in the UK, professional people like myself retire at 70, no more 65, retire at 70. So I tell myself, up to 70, I will be productive.
But then your dad, at 87, he is still practicing as an ONG specialist at age 87.
He's making life difficult for me because he's been my mentor and I've been following him.
Yeah.
Now it means I must do the same. No, I'm prepared to do the same. God blessed him with health.
Yeah.
And so if the good Lord can bless me with health the same way, I won't stop.
Maybe a good whiskey or two has helped in that longevity.
Well, to alleviate stressful times, it's nothing better than a good, mature whiskey taken only to prescription.
Yeah.
Yes. Not overdosing. Yes.
How does Prof. Sam Mokgokong, Samuel Ligeto Mokgokong, switch off? Rest. Yeah, like how do you switch off, when you're not at work,
Oh yes.
to just relax?
Oh yes. When you say when you are not at work, and I've been at work until now, I think you mean at night.
Yeah, well, when you are not on call,
Oh yes.
during weekends, how do you unwind? How do you re-energize?
That's a good question. With society, in other words, I believe very much in being in the society. As I said, I do it very much with the Christian communities. But even when we were at Soshanguve, we used to have social clubs, and we used to travel for football and so on.
You once went to Tunisia,
Yeah,
hoping that Bafana will get to the finals, and they never did.
By the way, that social club is still alive.
Yeah.
Because once you have a good treasurer and the money is looked after, clubs never die. They have me as a treasurer, the Consensus Travel Club.
Yeah.
So I do unwind that way and have a few braais and whiskeys and over the weekend. When I go back to work, I haven't been bogged. My mind hasn't been bogged with work. I'm truly fresh on Monday when I go to work. And it is important. You got to wind out. You got to go to church. You go to over weekends.
Despite supporting a team that has got a history of losing quite a lot.
Orlando Pirates. No, it's a very big team. It's done a lot. In fact, the teams you talk about that may thresh it used to be Chiefs. But those were born out of Pirates.
Yeah.
So Pirates would be like an old man like me who says, I stand up, you can stand on my shoulders so you can see further. So that's what Pirates will tell these youngsters. Or stand on my shoulders so you can see further than me.
Yeah.
But you are on my shoulders. That's why you are seeing further than you should see.
Yeah. Last question. I'm done. In 1999, just a few days before the new millennium, you unfortunately got hijacked coming out of hospital. You were shot in the abdomen,
Yes.
thrown on the streets somewhere, left for dead. And it was a touch and go situation to get your life back, for us to be able to talk to you today. That experience, how did it change your life? Did it change your life in any way, your perspective of life?
It was an awful experience, I must say. And as you say, I was shot and I was almost killed. And as a neurosurgeon, as I lay down, because I was shot in the abdomen, as I lay down, I started thinking of my spine, whether I'm paralyzed or not. When the fellows drove off with my car, because I had to lay still, pretend to be dead. When they drove off in my car, first thing I did was to move my legs to see whether the spine is affected. It was an awful experience. Did it change my life? I think I had a lot, to be honest. Such a thing must make you reflect. I had a lot of reflection on my life, and I want to believe that I changed a lot of things, although I can't tell you what, because I still socialize, I still meet friends, because if you remember, it was towards festive season, and
20-something of December.
We were with friends in the township, and it was late when I drove home.
11 p.m.
I can't hide that. So yes, you wouldn't find me out at night anymore, right?
No, Prof, let me thank you for giving us this interview.
It's a pleasure.
It has enlightened me about your life journey to date, and obviously there's still many chapters coming. I believe you will hit that 87 of the old man and go beyond.
I wish.
But I'm sure there will be another opportunity to add to what we are recording today. But for now, I just want to say thank you. You've been that morning star that shines brighter than other stars, and may you continue to shine. May you continue to be the inspiration that you've been to many of us. And may you continue to save lives, because, one of the things you said in one of your interviews is that one thing that you enjoy about being a medical doctor is saving lives.
Absolutely.
There's nothing that gives you joy than saving a person's life. And you've lived that for almost, 2/3 of your life or more to date, saving lives. And so may you continue to save lives, but also enjoy your family, enjoy your daughters, enjoy your grandchildren, but continue to do what's closest to your heart. So I want to thank you.
Thanks for your kind words.
Yeah.
On next week's episode on SA Health Icon.